I rewatched all of Demon Slayer so that you don't have to. Here's everything that happens in season 1 so you can be prepared for season 2. But of course, don't forget to grab your cup because it's time to spill the anime tea. Let's start off with arc 1, which I like to call the training slow burn arc. So here we are in Taisho period Japan. All of Tanjiro's little brothers and sisters all around. We are introduced to them and their names, but it is not worth remembering because they are not going to be here in like a few seconds. Of course, we get introduced to Tanjiro himself, who has the smell of a dog. Like, I swear that Tanjiro is it's just a weird little quirk that he has. Anyway, he and his family are living up in the mountains, and he goes down the mountain to sell coal. This other old man that we're never gonna remember his name because it doesn't really matter, he tells him not to go back up the mountain because it's nighttime and that's when demons come out. And Tanjiro's like, nah, B, there's no demons, what are you talking about? And the guy's like, trust me, there's demons. And the next day he goes up the mountain back home, and when he gets there, tragedy strikes. Remember all those kids? I said that we don't need to remember their name. This is why, because they're all dead. But the only person who's still alive is his sister, Nezuko. So he puts her on his back and he goes down the mountain again to try to get help for her. But as he is doing so, she wakes up and attacks him, and we find out that she is a demon now. So they're struggling on the mountain, falling down in the snow in the forest, and then out of nowhere, Giyu, the goat Yu, shows up. He tries to kill Nezuko because, you know, she's a demon. That is his job. We're learning a little bit about the demon slayers and that he is one. But Tanjiro's like, no, do not hurt her. She is my sister. Like, just because she's a demon doesn't mean she's not my sister. And Giyu's like, well, that sucks for you, but she's still a demon, so I gotta kill her. Like, it's inevitable. But Tanjiro's having none of it, so he attacks Giyu. He throws an axe at him to distract him, to try to take him out. It doesn't work, obviously, because Giyu is very strong and knocks Tanjiro out. And then as Giyu is going to approach Tanjiro, Nezuko comes and steps in between them and actually protects Tanjiro. So Nezu protect. And that's a huge deal because she's a demon. Demons don't protect humans, they eat humans. So Giyu is kind of shook and like very confused at the situation. But seeing this display of like love and like helping each other out, he decides to send Tanjiro and Nezuko to his old mentor to get him trained to be a demon slayer. So Tanjiro and Nezuko head out to go find Giyu's mentor. Along the way, Tanjiro stops and gets a wicker basket to put Nezuko in so that they can travel during the day, because now that she's a demon, she cannot be out in the sun or she'll die. As they're getting closer to where Giyu's mentor is, Tanjiro and Nezuko run into a demon, and Tanjiro and Nezuko face off against the demon for the first time. So they're actually able to take out the demon, which is kind of surprising because none of them have any former training. And then finally, the mentor character appears. His name is Urokodaki. Of course, he has white hair because all mentor characters have white hair. So from there, Urokodaki takes Tanjiro and Nezuko up into the mountains, where he trains Tanjiro day in and day out for 2 straight years to become a demon slayer. All the while, Nezuko goes to sleep and does not wake up this entire time. So the next few episodes are kind of like a time skip / montage of Tanjiro training in the woods, in the mountains, learning how to breathe, learning the breathing techniques, learning how to fight with a sword. And then until we get to his final trial where he has to cut a boulder in half. Only in anime will you have to do something this ridiculous, cut a giant boulder in half. Like, who thinks of these things? I guess they're creators. But then out of nowhere, a wild Sabuto appears and he trains him in fighting and kind of combat. This makes Tanjiro a little bit stronger. Another character with a mask appears called Mokomo, who also trains him. Both of the mask figures train him for about 6 months until a final battle ensues between Sabuto and Tanjiro. During the final battle, Tanjiro is able to cut off Sabuto's mask and see his real face. But what he thinks is Sabuto's mask is actually the boulder, which he is able to cut in half. After that, Sabuto and Mokomo disappear, and Tanjiro heads off to final selection, which is the kind of tournament battle section of the Demon Slayer initiation. You have to go through final selection, survive for 7 days in the woods with the demons, and then at the end of it, you can become a Demon Slayer. Before we head into final selection, let me break down how demons work real quick. Let's do a little Demon 101. Let me put my glasses on. Sensei Phoenix is going to explain how demons work real quick. So the more humans that a demon eats, the stronger they will become. The demons die in sunlight, which we know of. They get like burned and turned to ash. Demons hate Wisteria, but not only do they hate it, but their Wisteria is also very potent to them. So that's why when Tanjiro is going up to final selection, the mountain is covered in Wisteria. It's to contain the demons in that final selection area so that they can't escape. The only thing that can kill a demon is a nitrine sword, which are made out of certain like irons and ores that are specifically best for killing demons. Certain demons have what's called a blood demon art, which is a special power that demons that have either lived a long time or have a lot of power have. So not all demons have this. The type of demon art is varied between each demon, so different demons have different kinds of powers. And lastly, Muzan Kibutsuji, Muzan Jackson, is the only demon to be able to turn people into demons, and he is the strongest and oldest of all of the demons. Back to the recap. So for the final selection arc, Tanjiro wears this really cool haori that Urokodake gives him. It's the same as his. It's blue with the clouds that is really drippy, as well as his own personal mask. Sabuto, Makomo's, and Tanjiro's masks are all really cool. And it's unfortunate because he doesn't even keep it. He only uses it for his final selection, and then he goes back to his checkered haori that he wears throughout the show. But that look though was just so cool. Like, I'm kind of sad we only got to see it for a couple episodes. Anyway, Tanjiro kills his first demon in final selection, and the demon ends up being the one that killed Makomo and Sabuto. That's right, they're actually dead. They weren't there. So Tanjiro was kind of seeing things. He was literally talking to ghosts up there on the mountain. Sabuto and Makomo were once Urokodake's students as well, and then of course this demon who has a vendetta against Urokodake for putting him inside of the final selection area and capturing him and all that many years ago, makes it his mission to try to kill all of the students that Urokodake sends up his way. He's able to differentiate them from the other final selection members because of their mask. Anyway, 7 days pass. We don't get to see all the 7 days. 5 survived, but 1 isn't there. So 1 isn't physically there when we see them all pick out their ore and stuff. But it's okay, we'll get to see him later. So now they are all officially Demon Slayers, but they're at the most bottom rank of Demon Slayers. Tanjiro returns back to Urokodake. Urokodake is super freaking happy because he survived and none of his other students have survived in a really long time. And Nezuko wakes up finally after 2 years, and then Tanjiro is like freaking out because his sister's awake, which is great. A few days later, Tanjiro gets his sword, which turns black. Black is a really rare color for a sword. And he also gets his little crow, which tells him his first mission, and Urokodake makes a box for Nezuko to put her in during the day so that he can carry her around. Urokodake also hypnotizes Nezuko so that she believes that all humans are her family and all demons are her enemy. Moving on to Arc 2, which I like to call Introducing Muzan Kibutsuji. So Tanjiro's first mission sends him on this quest to save these girls who are being kidnapped at night by demons. It's just the first mission. It's not super interesting. It was just kind of the first time we got to see Tanjiro, I guess, fight as a demon slayer. Tanjiro and Nezuko head over to Osaka, which is super bright, colorful, and cool. While Tanjiro is in Osaka, he smells Muzan's scent, follows it through a crowd of people to actually find him, and he finds him and confronts him. But before he can do anything, we see that Muzan actually has a family. He has a wife and a young daughter. Tanjiro's like kind of shook by that. He's like, what can I do? I can't attack this person with a family. That's kind of crazy. But not only that, Muzan decides to slash someone in the back of the neck and make them turn into a demon right in front of them. And Tanjiro has to go and kind of restrain this person who's recently turned into a demon and is attacking other people now. And then Muzan kind of slips off into the crowd. Luckily, Tanjiro gets some help from Tamayo and Ushiro, who are 2 demons that are actually trying to be on the side of good. They do not eat humans. We learn that Lady Tamayo is the only other possible demon who can turn a person into a demon. And Lady Tamayo offers to try to cure Nezuko and turn her back into a human. But she says that the only way that she can possibly do this is to try to collect as much of Muzan's blood as possible. And the best way to do this is to collect the blood of 12 Kizuki. The 12 Kizuki are the 12 strongest members directly under Muzan. They get influxes of his blood to make them stronger. But you know, the good, happy vibes don't last for long because they never do in Demon Slayer. Demon lackeys show up. We learn that Muzan is kind of like Voldemort. You can't say his name. I haven't watched Harry Potter. I don't know why I use this as a reference. Do you get killed if you say Voldemort's name? The demons get killed if they say Muzan's name, and that's what happens to the Tamari girl. And then for the eyeball guy, they're able to kill him. And then Tanji and Tamayo make an agreement that Tanji will go out and collect the blood of the 12 Kizuki so that he can give it to Lady Tamayo so that she can find a cure for Nezuko. Before we get to my favorite part of the recap, my favorite part of the series, when the Golden Boys arrive, make sure you like this video if you're enjoying it so far. I love making recaps. They take a lot of work though, so like letting me know that you like them really helps out a lot and makes me like know that people are actually enjoying and watching these. So arc 3, the Golden Boys arrive. The Golden Boys, I love them. Wait, I have to show you on my phone. Look at them. Look, I have them right here. As Tanjiro's leaving Osaka and just traveling, he runs into Zenitsu, who he did see at final selection. Zenitsu is hassling this woman to be his wife because he's a demon slayer and he's gonna die soon, and he's like giving her a hard time, and Tanjiro like steps in and is like, bro, calm down. Like, what are you doing? You need to chill. Zenitsu has zero chill, like whatsoever. He is just so freaking eccentric. And their interaction during this part, it leads to the best meme face of 2019 when Tanjiro is looking down at him in disgust. It is the best face ever. Anyway, Tanjiro and Zenitsu kind of walk together for the rest of the time until they stumble upon this house. Outside of the house are these two young kids who are like looking there like super scared, and Tanjiro goes to ask them what's wrong, and they're like, our brother is in the house and there's a demon in there. Now Tanjiro, Zenitsu, and these kids are in the house. And they're walking through the house, and then suddenly they hear a drum and the house changes and the rooms change and they are separated. So Tanjiro is with the little girl and Zenitsu is with the little boy. Meanwhile, we see a demon walking through the house that has these drums attached to his body, and when he hits them, different parts of the room change, different parts of the house change. And then Tanjiro and the girl end up running into the giant drummer boy demon, which I'm gonna call him, and Tanjiro tries to fight him in the room. But as he fights him, the demon's able to change the position of the room whenever he taps the certain drums, and the room kind of flips around. And then we get this really cool battle scene where Tanjiro is flipping around in this crazy room as he is also fighting this demon, which was just fantastic. UFO table, direction of it, the animation style, perfection. Meanwhile, we see another demon slayer in the house, Beast Boy Inosuke, who woke up reckless because he is just going through the house making a rampage, trying to find the demons and kill them. Zenitsu tells us that he was the 5th survivor of the final selection. Anyway, Inosuke finds a demon and he takes it out, and then Zenitsu and the young boy run into another demon, and then Zenitsu is scared out of his mind and he's screaming the entire time, which gets really, really annoying real quick. But luckily he falls asleep and finally STFUs, and then his unconscious body gets up and whoops that ass. Like, he just thunderclaps and goes off with his really cool thunder breathing style. While Tanjiro is still fighting the drummer demon, we find out that the brother of the two kids that the demon took is a certain type of human with a very specific rare blood type that if eaten by a demon, it equals 100 humans. So the demon's trying to eat him so that he can be strong again, because he was once part of the 12 Kizuki, but now he is not anymore. And if he eats him, he thinks he's gonna be able to get back into that rank. Tanjiro is able to remember different aspects of his training, different water breathing styles, the way he's able to breathe so that his currently broken areas of his body are able to not hurt as much, and just different ways in which he can fight in the room. Once they take the main demon out and take out the other demons, they're able to escape from the house. But as soon as Tanjiro gets outside, he sees that Zenitsu is literally hugging on to Nezuko's box and protecting her, while Inosuke is beating the living crap out of him. Because Inosuke's like, bro, there's a demon in there, what the heck are you doing? Like, can't you tell? And Zenitsu's like, yeah, I know, B, but like, Tanjiro said that this is the most important thing to him in his entire life, so we can't just be attacking this. So Tanjiro and Inosuke fight, which is a really cool fight. Like, the way Inosuke fights is super like flexible. Like, he's almost like a gymnast / boar person. Tanjiro's more traditional kind of fighting style is pretty cool. But then, of course, at the end, Tanjiro is able to take him out with a headbutt, and then the headbutt knocks off Inosuke's boar mask, and we see that he's actually a pretty boy. The trio of boys plus Nezuko head down the mountain and end up going to this old lady's house who works with the Demon Slayer Corps to help heal the Demon Slayers. So they get fixed up there, they get food, they get to rest there, and they have these really fun moments where we get to see all three of them kind of being together at once and their different personalities. Let's move on to arc 4, which I like to call Arachnophobia Demonified. This is probably the scariest part of all of Demon Slayer. Like, it is horror. This is the horror aspect of Demon Slayer right here. So after all the boys are healed up, they get sent on another mission into a mountain. Tanjiro and Inosuke just head straight up into the mountain to try to go and help people. They hear like people screams and see someone get taken into the forest who is trying to escape. So Tanjiro and Inosuke come face to face with demon slayers who some of who are dead, some are in like a lot of excruciating pain, who are attacking them. And they're attacking them because a demon is controlling them using spider webs. Tanjiro is able to sniff out that there are multiple demons on the mountain than just the one controlling the people, but he is able to find the one controlling all of the demon slayers and take her out. Actually, the demon allows him to take her out because she is tired of her abusive life. There's one demon that is stronger than all the other demons, and he is actually one of the 12 Kizuki, and he is really abusive to the other demons. So she was tired of the abuse and was like, I'm good, just take me out. And Tanjiro takes her out in like the most beautiful, calming way. Like, meanwhile, Zenitsu runs into demon-headed spider babies, which are just as frightening as they sound. And then he gets poisoned by the demon that turns the demon slayers into the demon-headed spider babies. Insanity of the situation causes Zenitsu to KO, and then he gets up unconscious, of course, and Thunder claps that ass again. It's great. We also get a little bit of backstory about him and like how he became a demon slayer. Even though he was deathly afraid of everything, his mentor continued to push him to be a demon slayer, and so he did. And also he gets struck by lightning. That's why his hair is blonde. We also learned that Zenitsu can only do one type of breathing style. He's only mastered one, but that one is really powerful and he's able to take out lots of demons with it. In the end though, he gets poisoned, so he is literally lying there dying. He practices his breathing technique so that his blood flow will slow down and that the poison doesn't spread as quickly. After Tanjiro takes out the other demon, Tanjiro and Inosuke run into Demon Spider Daddy, which is what I'm going to call him because he is the daddy of the group. The demon is very, very powerful, and as Tanjiro's fighting it, the demon attacks him with a giant log, which sends Tanjiro flying deeper and deeper into the woods, leaving Inosuke alone to fight him himself, which ends up not being that great for Inosuke because even though Inosuke is able to put up a little bit of a fight and he's able to take off like one of the demon's arms, the demon captures him and almost crushes him to death. But we'll get back to that in a second because Tanjiro flies directly into the path of Rui, who is the member of the 12 Kizukis. He is the strongest demon on the mountain, and he is yelling and berating one of the other demons. And then Tanjiro steps in and is like, why are you treating your sister, like, isn't this your sister? Why are you treating them so terribly? You're supposed to be family. And Rui's like, you don't know anything about family. Like, this is how I treat my family because I'm a demon. And then they have this whole argument and Tanjiro ends up fighting Rui, and the other sister demon is able to escape. And of course, since Rui is one of the 12 Kizuki, he is super powerful, way powerful than any of the demons that Tanjiro has ever fought before. So the fight between them ends up being really intense. Rui is able to use this blood demon art that is spider webs that are like super reinforced, so they can cut through almost anything. And while Tanjiro is fighting him, giving it everything he's got, he ends up getting his blade cut in half. Back to Spider Demon Daddy. Inosuke is being, crushed by the Spider Demon Daddy until Giyu shows up. He is able to take out the Spider Demon very quickly. While that's happening, Shinobu, which is another demon slayer that we get introduced to, is able to help Zenitsu and save him and use an antidote to reverse the effects of the poison in his blood. Okay, back to Rui and Tanjiro's fight. So now that Tanjiro's sword is broken, he's kind of in a tough spot, but luckily Nezuko gets out of her box at that specific moment and starts attacking Rui and protecting Tanjiro. And then Rui, seeing this, because he has this weird fetish for familial bonds, is super impressed that Nezuko is stepping in for her brother, and it's a beautiful display of a familial relationship. And Rui makes it his mission to now make Nezuko his little sister, and therefore he's able to capture her with his webs and hold her up, and it's kind of almost slicing her apart as he does so, which makes Tanjiro go crazy. He attacks Rui with his little piece of a sword that he has left. He kind of has a random flashback to when his father was doing the Kagura dance. As he remembers this, he's able to do what's called the Hinokami Kagura, which is this beautiful fire-breathing technique. Well, it's able to get him close enough to Rui to take off his head. And while he's doing that, Nezuko is able to wake up, inspired by her dead mother's words to help protect her brother. She is able to use her own blood demon art, so it's called Exploding Blood, and she's able to destroy the strings that Rui is creating so that Tanjiro can get through and cut off his head. But just such a random anime power shonen power-up situation that can only exist in shonen anime. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Why all of a sudden would you remember this? But it doesn't matter because it looked really cool, the song was great, the whole moment was amazing, and that fight was just beautiful. Anyway, the power of wholesome familiar bonds almost saves the day. However, Rui ended up cutting his own head off before Tanjiro could. That means that Tanjiro didn't exactly kill him. He's still alive, he's still able to regenerate, and he's still able to fight. While Tanjiro and Nezuko, who have literally given it all that they could possibly give, are like lying there on the floor, like just out of it. Giyu comes back and saves the day. He literally, in like 2 seconds, takes out Rui using an 11th form of water breathing technique. There's only 10 that Tanjiro was taught, at least. So this is the 11th form. As Rui is dying, just like with all the demons, we get to learn a little bit about their backstory. But specifically for Rui, we learn more about his because, he was a really formidable demon. So we learned that he created a makeshift family with all these random demons that he kind of gathered over the years on the mountain. To make them part of the family, he gives them his blood. Also, sometimes the members would change their appearance back to how they originally looked. Their appearance changes after they drink Rui's blood, but sometimes it goes back and forth. Probably because he's not strong enough, or probably because his blood wasn't strong enough. Or that enrages him, so he used to be really abusive to a lot of the demons. We learned back in his human days that he was a very sickly young child who felt bad for all the burden he was putting on his parents. So one day Muzan Jackson steps up to him and is like, I can make you super powerful and you never have to be sick again. And he turns him into a demon, and then his family is super heartbroken and upset. And this makes Rui really mad because he believes in this relationship with family members where they have to protect you no matter what. But what he doesn't realize is that his family actually was going to do everything that they could do to protect him. After they killed him, they were going to take their own lives to atone for whatever sins that he committed for killing people. And Tanjiro, he can always smell how sad each of the demons are when they're passing away, so he puts a hand on top of Rui's back as he's infinity fading away. Rui is grateful for having an actual person care for him. And then as he's dying, we see that he gets reunited with his family, who are all gonna go to hell, I guess, because Rui has eaten many demons over many years. He's going to hell, but his family said they're gonna go with him, so at least they're going to hell together. Isn't that sweet? And then Giyu walks up to Tanjiro and is like, bro, why are you pitying him? He was a demon, he just ate a bunch of people, he's about to kill you. And Tanjiro was like, I know, G, but he was once a human too, and he deserves some type of love and respect. Meanwhile, Shinobu is fighting the sister spider demon that ran away. Shinobu is able to take out that demon with her thin sword that actually has wisteria poison in it, and we get to see a new kind of different way that demons are able to be killed. And then Shinobu goes after Nezuko next because, her job is to take out all the demons that are around. All the other demons are dead except for Nezuko, so that's who she goes after next. But Giyu steps in and protects Tanjiro and Nezuko and tells Shinobu to back off, and then they have this internal fight, which is pretty cool. Also, we should take a second to appreciate how beautiful Shinobu and Giyu are. They are gorgeous. The character design is just chef's kiss. While Giyu and Shinobu are fighting, Kanao, which is one of the other final selection members, ends up finding Tanjiro and Nezuko and trying to kill Nezuko. But Nezuko gets really small, she gets tiny, and then she runs away, and she's able to dodge Kanao's attacks until one of the crows comes around and says that Tanjiro and Nezuko need to be brought back alive to Demon Slayer headquarters. So everyone stops fighting. And this leads us to arc number 5, meeting the Hashiras, the last arc that I'm going to talk about in this recap. So Tanjiro wakes up in front of the Hashiras. There are 9 of them, and they're all staring down, looking at him, very upset. They say that he is on trial for harboring a demon, even though he is a demon slayer, and they're going to figure out what to do with him once the master of the Demon Slayer headquarters arrives. Along with Tanjiro, Giyu is also put on trial because he helped Tanjiro escape and, you know, didn't kill Nezuko right away. And then we get introduced to each of the Hashira one at a time, which is just great. Take a second to appreciate how stunning they look all together, but especially flamboyant Usui, Flameboy Rengoku, and lovey-dovey Mitsuri are just beautiful. There's a moment where they are all standing together next to each other. The three most beautiful characters in that whole, and all of the Hashiras are like standing next to each other. They're so amazing. Each Hashira have different titles that correlate to their breathing techniques. So Giyu is known as the Water Hashira, Shinobu is the Insect Hashira, Uzui is the Sound Hashira, Mitsuri is the Love Hashira, Rengoku is the Flame Hashira, Himejima is the Stone Hashira, Tokito is the Mist Hashira, Iguro is the Serpent Hashira, and Sanemi is the Wind Hashira. Sanemi needs to be stomped because he is the one that attacks Nezuko first. He stabs Nezuko and Tanjiro is losing his crap. He ends up getting up and hitting Sanemi in with his hard head and not knocking him out, but kind of like throwing him back. And then we are finally introduced to the master of the Demon Slayer Corps, which is Kaguya, who's the 97th leader of the Corps. He finally arrives alongside his creepy twins that were there for final selection. And we see that he has an illness that's prevalent on his face that also makes him blind. He ends up pardoning Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Giyu, saying that Urokodake, Giyu's mentor, wrote a letter to him saying that Nezuko is never going to eat another human. She has been hypnotized so that she thinks that everyone is her family and that all demons are her enemy. And if she ever does eat a human, that Tanjiro and Giyu are going to take their own lives as punishment. But most of the Demon Slayers still don't agree that they should keep Nezuko alive. Nezuko is a demon. All they know is that demons kill people. And then Sanemi tests Nezuko by throwing her in the shade and then stabbing himself and then stabbing her and then trying to make her eat him by taunting her with his blood. And Nezuko is holding herself back, but Tanjiro is able to kind of draw her back to reality and make her realize again that humans are not food and that demons are the enemy, and she ends up stepping away and going back in her box, and it surprises everyone. Kaguya tells Tanjiro to defeat a 12th Kizuki so that he'll be more honored and respected in the group. And then Tanjiro's like, I'll do one better. I'll kill a 12th Kizuki and I will kill Muzan Kibutsuji. Tanjiro and Nezuko are taken to Shinobu's Butterfly Mansion, where Tanjiro runs into Kanao again, who we find out is working as a swordsman directly under a Hashira, and that's known as a Togoku. And of course, Tanjiro meets up with his trio again. Zenitsu and Inosuke are in bed, recovering. So the boys rest up at the mansion and they start their rehabilitation training. During the rehabilitation training, they learn total concentration breathing 24/7, so they have to keep it up all day long, which is very, very hard for them. And then at the end, if they are able to blow into a gourd and destroy that gourd, they have completed their training. So these last 3 or 4 episodes of Demon Slayer are pretty slow, they're pretty chill. We get really cute moments though, like Zenitsu beating up the boys for hanging out with the girls who are doing the rehabilitation training. Tanjiro saying boom boom in the Japanese version, a little boom boom. Inosuke chipping the brand new swords that he just got from his sword creator. Of course, Tanjiro and Kanao spending some time together, and Tanjiro teaching her to try to make her own decisions and not rely on a coin. And Inosuke's little creepy laugh in the very last episode when he is hiding his swords behind his back. Tanjiro and Shinobu share a moment as well, where Tanjiro realizes Shinobu is not as happy as she likes to put on. She's actually always angry. We learned that her older sister was killed by a demon. We also learned that Kanao was saved by Shinobu's older sister and her when she was a young girl. She was an orphan who was sold into slavery, and they taught her how to make a decision using the coin because she was kind of desensitized to the world after the abuse that she went through in her life. Tanjiro asks Shinobu about fire breathing, but she says the only person who might know a little bit about that is Rengoku, who is the Flame Hashira, which is slightly different. And so she ends up sending Tanjiro and the boys and Nezuko off on a mission, on the same mission as Rengoku. Meanwhile, a couple months earlier, before the kids finish their training, we get to see a femme Muzan, which is pretty cool, but also terrifying. Or call together a group of the Kizuki. He calls together the lower 6 of the Kizuki and is really mad because Rui, he went rogue and didn't listen, and he hated that insolence. So to show them a lesson, he ends up killing most of the other demons, except for one who is able to bow to him and say that he loves him and all that stuff. So he's like, okay, I'll let you live. And he gives this one demon a mission to go and kill one of the Hashiras and kill Tanjiro. And if he's able to do that, then he'll become part of the upper Kizuki. And Muzan also gives him a little bit of his blood in order to go and accomplish his mission. And this demon's mission is kind of the reverse of Tanjiro's mission, if you really think about it. We get a lead up into Mugen Train, the movie. If you want to know what happens in the Mugen Train movie, I suggest you go watch it. I didn't want to do a recap of that because it's only an hour and a half and it's really good. And I mean, if you haven't watched it yet, it's literally available almost anywhere. Hulu, Crunchyroll, and Funimation all have it. I also suggest you watch the prequel episode that Crunchyroll has that shows a little bit more insight onto Rengoku's character and his mission before he gets on the Mugen Train. So if you love Rengoku, definitely watch that. Otherwise, Demon Slayer Season 2 premieres on December 5th on Funimation and Crunchyroll, I believe. Make sure you go watch that. If you want more recaps, recommendations, and explanations about your favorite anime, make sure to subscribe to the Anime Tea. I put out new videos every single week. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Phoenix. Hope you had a good time, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.